All right, so I wanted to come back in and review what we talked about when we started talking about meter in the lesson that you guys watched. So first of all, make sure that you have this in your music binder in your notes. Okay, you need to have down that meter is 1, the pattern of strong and weak beats in music. Remember, we talked about strong and weak beats, how they're not created equal, and that pattern of strong and weak tells us the way meter is grouped. So if you have a pattern of strong and weak beats that goes strong, weak, 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 strong, weak, 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 that means that that strong beat is repeating every 4 beats. So remember, our meter is going to be 4. They're grouped into sets of 4. If you have a pattern with strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak, then every 3 beats you have a strong beat. So these are grouped into sets of 3, okay? And then the other type of meter we talked about was meter in 2, where every 2 beats you have a strong beat, and so they're grouped into sets of 2. Okay, today we're going to take it a step further in this lesson. And what we've got is, I'm going to focus in on number 2. It's the number of beats in every measure, right? That's the second definition of meter. It's also the number of beats in every measure. And today, what you're going to find out is you're going to find out what a measure is and what bar lines are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write up on my board what bar lines are. And you need to copy this down in your notes. You should have your binder with notebook paper in it. Bar lines are lines that cut music into sections. Okay, and then measures, that's the music word that we use for naming these sections, okay? Measures are the sections of music, okay? So every bar line, in between 2 bar lines, there's going to be a measure. And I'm going to show that to you in just a minute. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to copy these down. This I had up on the board in that first lesson that video that you watched. This should be new, but I did want to keep this up here since that's what we're talking about again today. So, bar lines. These are very, very important. Okay? And they cut the music into sections. And I'm going to show you a picture of that. So if for some reason you haven't had time to copy this down into your notes yet, push pause on the video right now, make sure you copy that, and then go on, because I'm going to erase it now, and I'm going to show you in music what those look like. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a music staff, and you guys have seen this before. I'm sure in elementary school you guys talked about the music staff and how there are 5 lines and 4 spaces. So that's just a plain old music staff. There's nothing on it yet. But what happens in music is when you get a bar line that goes from the top to the bottom like this, it's going to cut the music into sections. So here I'm going to put a bar line. Here I'm going to put a bar line. And then here I'm going to put another bar line. So what that means is, from this bar line to this bar line, that's going to be a measure. And anything on the staff, any music on that staff, will be located in this first measure. From this bar line to this bar line is the next measure. From this bar line to this bar line is the next measure, okay? And so what we've got is we've actually got a total of 3 measures here. Now don't get confused. If you count the bar lines, you've got 4 bar lines. That's not how many measures you've got. You've got to cut the chunks. And usually I tell my classes it's kind of like you take a pizza cutter and you cut, pretend like you have a big long pizza, and you're cutting the pizza into slices. So this slice would be a measure, this slice would be a measure, and this slice would be a measure, okay? And then what happens is you go back, and then in music, you have certain notes that appear in every measure, okay? So once we understand what measure and bar lines are, then we can go back and apply this definition that meter is the number of beats in every measure. And we're going to talk about that with something called meter signature in the next video lesson that we talk about. But I'm going to upload a couple of other videos for you to watch on understanding measure and bar lines. Make sure that you have meter in your notes. Make sure that you have what a bar line is in your notes and what a measure is in your notes.